opinion, okay, I know that you did this, but the only thing that right now that you have the ability to offer here is your explanation, because I don't think you're a bad guy, okay? I don't think that you planned this thing for months and months on end.
This is 28-year-old Sarah Parks, who is 20 weeks into her pregnancy. Along with her is her husband, Silas Parks, who is more than excited to become a parent. Or is he? On the morning of June 24th, 2009, a witness noted fire and smoke coming from the Parks' duplex and called 911. The firefighters responded to the scene minutes later, only to find Sarah's body burned beyond recognition. The residents surrounded the duplex in worry as the police began their investigation, and joining them just at around 8:15 a.m. was Silas. He had left home to hit the gym for a 45-minute workout, but after, he was pulled aside by his neighbors and given the shocking news. He was left traumatized. Many of the neighbors and family members came to console the unfortunate widower while the investigation was carried out. But to get a better understanding of everything, Silas had to come in for questioning. So on June 25th, the very next day, he did.
Hey, I had to make a phone call real quick on another case.
Come on in and just sit down. The detectives are taking over the case, and we're here. We just want to give you some information and talk to you a little bit. Can I get you a cup of coffee, some water?
Some coffee, maybe.
Black?
Now, in many of these cases that we've come across, we've seen many husbands sobbing relentlessly over the loss of their wives. Here, Silas has lost not only his wife, but a future child, too. Yet, he'll keep a straight and emotionless tone throughout this questioning. And once again, this is just questioning, so anything he shares doesn't incriminate him. But based on psychology, it's almost too weird that he's not going to cry throughout this questioning.
So let's start talking the morning prior to this happening. So the last day that Jeannie was there. Okay. Let's start about when you woke up that day. Let's go from there.
Okay. Wait just a moment.
Sure.
Let's see, Tuesday, I didn't have to be to work till 9:45.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm already messing up times. No, it must have been 9:45. Okay. I was lazy. I'd been kind of lazy the whole week. Jeannie was there just because, there's another girl in the house, and not wanting to get up while she's in the shower and running around. And so I just laid in bed until probably 9. Sarah was up and Sarah had to work that day. She was tutoring kids this summer. I think it was her first day. She was supposed to be there technically at 8, but she went at 8:30.
Mm-hmm. Where was that at?
Moscow Charter School.
Okay. And this was her first day
Yeah, like the first time doing the tutoring and whatnot.
for the summer
Yeah.
school tutoring stuff. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so that's right. The time I had to be at work was 8:45.
Okay.
I got there at 9. I have a little bit of flex with that, so.
Okay. So Tuesday, you're supposed to be at work at 8:45. You got there at 9.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I was, hanging out with my wife, and I remember I got up. My wife was pretty much ready.
What time did you get up Tuesday morning? Wake up.
I woke up probably, kind of half asleep. Woke up 7-ish. Kind of went back to sleep. Woke up at 7:30 and laid there till 8. at 8, took a shower.
If we showed you the raw interrogation, you would have been half asleep by the time he laid out his timeline for Tuesday. Ironically, he's sitting here recalling a day before yesterday, yet he struggles to do so. We're going to save you some time by just showing you the timeline here. It's pretty straightforward, nothing alarming, and definitely not worth the 42 minutes he took to tell the detective. But after that boring day description, he's asked about the night and whether anything happened that was out of the ordinary.
About what time do you think she got out of bed?
It felt like a long time she was there next to me coughing. But I was half asleep. So, theoretically it could have been 10 minutes, but it felt like longer than an hour. So I would guess 2:30. She got up.
Okay. And you remember seeing the light on in the hallway?
I was on the hallway. I wasn't too, the light went out, she didn't come back in bed. I wasn't too concerned because previous times she had gone and laid in the guest room bed because she's a very concerned individual. She just didn't want to bother me, didn't want to keep me up. If she's going to be up, she doesn't need to keep me up. So, which is incredibly sweet from her because, she will not go to bed without me there. Kind of thing. She's gotten a little bit better about that, if I was out with guys, but I have guys night, Friday night, so she's gotten used to going to bed without me Friday night, but otherwise, she really wants me to be to bed with her.
He claims that she went to the guest bedroom to sleep because she didn't want to annoy him. What's alarming, though, is that she was found dead in the same room, so his story corroborates with what happened. The question is, though, did she ever leave the room or wake up? And also, where was Silas in the morning?
Kind of woke up, 20 minutes before I got up.
What time do you think you got up?
I would say I got up a little after 7. Again, I didn't have contacts in, so I wasn't seeing anything. And I went to the bathroom, put my contacts in, kind of first thing. And the clock in my bathroom's off anyway, so it's ahead, I think it's behind, so I don't even pay attention to it. And Sarah hadn't come back to bed, so obviously she was still asleep, was my thought process. Because if she had woken up, the first thing she would have done was get back in bed with me.
Right. Did you wake up to an alarm clock that morning, or?
No, I didn't want to set one.
Oh, okay. Did you work? Were you supposed to work?
Wednesday, no.
Oh, okay.
Wednesday was my day off. We were going to, and that's why we had so many things jam-packed scheduled that day. It's my day off. That's when we're doing everything. And Sarah was sweet too, because she rescheduled my dentist appointment. It was in the morning, but we were going to do house stuff, so she was able to reschedule it for the afternoon, which is amazing because, dentist's office on relatively short notice. It was 2 days before she got it changed to the afternoon, but okay, so let's see, I gotta put my contacts in. She's not up, so maybe I'll go to the gym. I figured, I had till 8:15, because then I'd come home, take 20 minutes to get ready, and then we'd go. So I threw on some gym clothes, and they were just right there next to my bathroom. I looked at Sarah, the door was, open.
Where was she at?
She was in the guest bed. Jeannie had taken the sheets off already.
Oh, okay.
Put them in the washer, and the night before I had, put them in the dryer. But my wife just laid on the white thing that goes underneath the sheets, and pulled the comforter over, and it looked like she'd gotten another blanket from the living room, the one with the red one that says Sarah on it. Looked like she was still sleeping. She wasn't moving. She was still, kind of hitting the door. Didn't wake her up, so.
She had the blankets. Did she sleep with a blanket over her head? No, she's pregnant. Usually when they're pregnant, they sleep on their side, right?
On her side. She was on her side. I think she was facing the stuff. So she was facing out from the wall. The bed was against
stuff. Explain.
It was our guest bedroom, but it was also our storage room. So, the bed was against the wall because we had tubs practically stacked to the ceiling of just stuff.
Were they all full of tubs? Are they plastic or are they?
No plastic tubs that are.
No cardboard.
Well, there were a few boxes as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
I haven't been in there.
And some kind of a plastic drawer thing and various containers.
Is this stuff that was prepped for packing or is that just storage?
It was prepped for packing. Well, some of it was stuff that's just in tubs since she moved up here from Texas. I think, it was just from moving around.
So you guys haven't at this point really started packing to move yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
We had boxes, tons of boxes that are folded up in the living room. We were ready to
open and fill.
That was going to be Thursday and Friday. While I was at work, Sarah was going to have my mom and her friend Jody come over, and they were going to box stuff up. I was hoping to take.
On that day, the two were going to get the key to their brand new apartment in the Green Acres neighborhood. That's why in the debris collected from the burnt house, there were burnt, unprepared boxes. He also accurately described the layout of the guest bedroom, further corroborating his story.
I was okay, so I can just go.
So which side is she laying on?
Oh yeah, that's right, that's where we were. She was laying on her left side, the bed's against the door, so she was against the wall, so she was facing away from the wall towards the wall of stuff.
Does she bring her knees in when she sleeps?
A little bit, yeah.
She sleep on her arm like under a pillow? Does she wrap her arms under her side? Do you recall how that was?
I don't know what she does with her underarm usually. Let's see. She just usually has it kind of there. I think she had her arm above one of the covers, maybe.
Okay. So you could see her arm exposed?
See her arm.
Okay. Did she open her eyes at all or look at you at all?
No. She just was dead to the world. So.
How long were you watching her?
A second. I looked and was like, okay, she's asleep. It was about just a check. I partially didn't want to wake her because I wanted to go get my workout in because I hadn't worked out the week that Jeannie was there.
When was the last time you worked out?
At the gym or in general?
At the gym.
At the gym, it had probably been 2 weeks because, it was when Sarah was here before her trip to Texas, I think. And while Sarah was gone, I just did stuff at home. And then while Jeannie was here, I didn't do anything. So I just looked at her for, a moment. She was there. All good. Went to the gym.
What time did you go to the gym? What time did you leave the house?
I tried to be quick. I think I got to the gym. It felt more like 7:35, so I probably left 7:20, 7:25.
How long does it take to get there? I mean, there's like...
It shouldn't take long at all. I mean, it feels like it shouldn't take long, but it usually, it's like 6 or 7 minutes. Like, it's not, it's right there, but...
Yeah, you're down Lincoln, you hit
Polk left on Rodeo, but...
Yeah, go down to Polk and take a right and the left on Rodeo, and it's right there on your right.
And I was driving slow because I was on cloud 9, excited for the day, just enjoying the sunshine. At the gym, I did a couple pull-ups and what do we call it when you push down?
Bar hits.
And then I just rode the bike for a while, and like I said, I was on cloud 9. I was just hopping around. If I was a slightly more social person, I probably would have practically told everybody in there that today's the day we get a key door in the house.
You got a smile on your face, everything's good. So you said you did some bar dips, you did some pull-ups, and then you rode a bike.
I rode the bike, and at the end I was like, I kind of felt done with the bike, but I was like, I still have some time, so I did some curls and some tricep stuff. Nothing.
What kind of weights you do? I mean, what kind of, are you a heavy lifter?
I'm a heavy lifter. 3 sets of 5 is the highest reps that I'll ever do with anything. I mean, I went light that day because I was wanting to be I didn't want to overtax myself, so that's why I did mostly biking, but I think I just grabbed 35s. I mean, my typical was like 45s or 50s, but I grabbed 45s and I set the triceps thing on 130.
Mm-hmm. Is that using a V-bar?
Yeah. So, I mean, it was a light, it was relatively light.
Cool. Anybody else there?
There was a lot of people. I mean, I say a lot. 8.
Is that more than normal at that time on a weekday to you, or normal?
It's about right. I mean, there was a lot of irregulars were there. I recognized quite a few of those faces.
You talked to anybody?
No. My wife was there, maybe. But, yeah, no. I'm not the most social person, so I'm not one that starts conversation. If someone talks to me, says hi, whatnot. I mean, I smiled at people, a few people, the couple of people that I see there, every other day.
Right.
So, smile.
So you work out for about how long?
45 minutes.
Okay.
I left a little before 8:15. Drove, noticed it looked kind of hazy.
What vehicle were you driving?
I was driving the Honda.
He claims that he was at the gym in the early morning and that many people were there who could place him at the gym during the hours of 7:30 to 8:15. The detectives can check with the gym for when he entered and left the premises, but for now, let's finish up his statement.
So you say you leave at, you said it was a 45-minute workout approximately, you leave about 8:15, and
I'm driving back, I see it's kind of hazy.
driving straight back to the house?
Yeah.
Right back down Rodeo, down Pollock, up and Lincoln in there? Okay.
Yeah.
You see it's kind of hazy?
Kind of hazy. I get closer, there's cars everywhere. I'm like, okay, what the heck is going on? Obviously something's burning. I'm curious what's going on. I come up Lincoln, and I see the fire trucks and everything seems to make the police car, and so it's right by our place. So I'm like, okay, so this could be us. This could be someone right next to us. I need to get there, make sure my wife's okay, get our stuff out if need be, if it's something right next to us. So I'm like, okay, how do I get by the cop? I park, I see that it's us, I run up there. There's a guy from the city who works for the street department. I think he still works for the street department. He did when I worked for the city. I recognize, so I run up to him, I ask him what's going on, what happened. He doesn't know. I say, where's my wife? She must be hysterical. He said he hasn't seen anyone. He directs me to fire guy who's in charge. I go talk to him. I ask him about my wife, or no, I try to go charging into the building, and some firemen start freaking out. So I'm like, okay, talk to them. So I'm like, okay, let's go talk to somebody, because I wasn't seeing flames. I kind of noticed something wrong with like the side of the building, and there are people upstairs, and it looks messed up, but I can't quite tell what's been done. I run to whatever fire chief guy, and I start asking about my wife, and he's like, we haven't searched, I don't know if we've searched the building. He didn't know. He didn't see anyone outside. Didn't see a woman. Another guy came, said that 2 people had swept the bottom floor. They didn't find anybody. So I'm like, okay, but where's my wife? And I'm freaking out, and they're like, you have to get back. So a neighbor guy, the guy who owns the place was there. He said that, they called me and were trying to get a hold of me. They'd called me, this is like later on, after the fact, so I kind of know when I got there, because my phone hadn't rang, so they must have called me about when I got there, like right when I got there, because obviously he thought they were calling me, but they hadn't. So, or had been calling for me, but my phone showed a missed call at 8:21, so that was right when I got there, basically. And I'm at that point, did he leave? Did he come back? I got a bit hysterical then, and just kind of sat down and was sobbing.
Why were you sobbing?
Because I was freaking out, because there was the whole adrenaline thing. My house is on fire. My wife's going to be going crazy. What do we do? Okay, where's my wife? She's not there. But, they said she wasn't in there. So I was just freaking out because I don't know where my wife is. And my house is on fire. And I was thinking about how she would feel, because, a lot of the stuff in there is, her stuff. She has a lot of trinkets, a lot of memories, grandparents. She has a lot of stuff. And I know she would die to lose that stuff. So I'm just, where's my wife? Is my wife in there? Where is she? They didn't find her. This is all going through my head. I'm crying. I think my neighbor, the guy who's my neighbor, maybe Steven was his name, I'm not sure, came over to me. He was like, well, maybe we can call her, come over here. He took me over to the garage that's up above. It was open. And we sat down there, and he was like, well, I could call her cell phone. And I was like, no. I gave him the number, and he called it. It seemed like it rang, but she didn't answer, and he left a message, and that made me feel somewhat better. I'm still freaking out. I'm still on this crazy adrenaline high, but, I'm like, okay. The phone's still on, it seemed like. So it probably didn't burn up in a fire. So, but I'm still like, where's my wife, though? Because my wife's not there. My house burned down, and my wife's not there. Where is she? And so we're trying to brainstorm where she would be. So I have him see if I could have him call.
So he's calling from his phone?
Yeah, from his phone. And
After this, the police started piecing together Silas's statements with newfound evidence, like the autopsy reports, the cell phone information, the half-burnt bits inside the house, and the arson report. after which Silas's story starts to fall apart. Firstly, we have the autopsy report by Dr. Jeffrey Reynolds, which suggested that it wasn't the fire that killed Sarah. Turns out neither Sarah nor the baby in her body showed signs of soot in their lungs, which is natural if you inhale smoke. This leads to only one conclusion. Sarah was killed before the fire. If there's no carbon monoxide found in your lungs, it leads to two conclusions: drugs or suffocation. Well, the toxicology report cleared Sarah from having consumed any drugs prior to her death, so that leaves suffocation, or most possibly strangulation. The second thing that destroys Silas's case is the report from the arson investigator, Lance Hart. According to him, the fire was set with a gas grill butane lighter, and the origin point was the edge of the comforter that was laid over the bed. This point of origin was nowhere near any electrical socket or open wiring, which meant that the comforter was lit intentionally. Now, the third and last thing that compelled the officers to haul Silas back in for questioning was his timeline. According to the fire marshal's investigation, the fire started between approximately 7:33 a.m. and 7:38 a.m. Silas's fitness facility confirmed that he swiped his membership card at 7:39 a.m. Given that the distance between his residence and the gym was approximately a 3.5-minute drive, this shatters any alibi that Silas can come up with for where he was. It was now the 1st of July, a week after his questioning, and the police now had an arrest warrant with Silas's name. And while we don't have the video, we can still hear that sweet moment when the officer pulls Silas up from his drive and says,
"Hey, Silas, step out of the car. Sir, keep your hands where you can see them. Step back here. Hands behind your back. Silas, you're under arrest for two counts of homicide, 1 count of arson. You understand? Okay, come back here."
At this point, he's got incriminating evidence pointing to him as the killer. So now we're wondering, what can he do? What can any guilty person do?
All right, man. Hang tight. Okay. I know you probably knew this day was coming, but we're there now, okay? So I'm going to be back in just a moment. Give me just a minute, okay? Alright, I want to talk to you for a little bit or give you the opportunity. Before I do that, I got to go through a bunch of formalities, okay? Here's the thing, okay? Our investigation has taken us to this point, okay? It's absolutely, 100% we know, the facts of the case now, okay? The problem that I foresee at this point, potentially in your situation, is that when people have all the information on what somebody did, and they don't know why, okay? When they don't know why, they automatically assume the worst. And in my opinion, okay, I know that you did this, but the only thing that right now that you have the ability to offer here is your explanation, because I don't think you're a bad guy, okay? I don't think that you planned this thing for months and months on end, okay? I don't. I believe that this happened as a result of something quickly triggering it, and I believe that when this happened, it was not a pre-planned long-term thing, okay? But the problem is that if you take this to trial and you go in front of a jury with the evidence that we have, okay, and they don't have an excuse, an understanding of what took place that day, I think it's bad for you, okay? That's my opinion. Before I can ask you any questions, I need to advise you of your rights, okay? You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you do or say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney and have an attorney present during questioning. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney and you wish one before any questioning, we will make sure that you are afforded an attorney, okay, and be paid for. Okay. You also have the right to stop questioning at any time. So that means if you decide to initially start talking and initially answer questions, at any time during this, you can say, I don't want to answer that question. I don't want to answer any questions, or let's move on. Okay? Do you understand all your rights as I've explained them to you?
Yes.
Okay. Having your rights in mind, do you want to give me a chance to talk to you to understand what happened today?
No.
Okay.
I'm lawyer present.
Okay, sounds good. Then we'll be done here. Give me just a minute. We'll move on, okay?
After Silas was charged with the death of his wife and unborn baby, his attorney, Ray Barker, presented a confession that implied that he accidentally killed his wife. He claimed that his memory was vague and recollected seeing his hands around her throat. What's even more ludicrous is that when he couldn't revive her, he put her on the bed and lit the comforter on fire. What's even more ludicrous is that at the post-conviction hearing, he clarified that he never quote-unquote choked Sarah, but instead that he had a, and I'm quoting here, hazy image of his hands around Sarah's neck. At the trial, it was also uncovered by the counsel that he had a quote-unquote sudden temper. Silas even admitted to having previously punched holes in the wall before and after marriage, portraying himself as some quote-unquote demon who had no control over his anger. He was involved in 3 physical altercations with Sarah several years prior to her death. And yet, after all this evidence, his counsel and the state attorney came to a plea deal. The state offered to lower the criminal charge from 2 counts of first-degree murder to 2 counts of voluntary manslaughter if Silas pled guilty to those counts and the arson count, which he did. In the end, Silas was sentenced to 15 years fixed and 15 years indeterminate on each manslaughter charge, and 5 years fixed with 25 years indeterminate on the arson charge. Overall, he must serve 20 years in prison before being eligible for parole, and a total of 40 years if he's not granted parole. It will forever be a mystery how scum like him can get plea deals to get out of life sentences after getting caught red-handed. But because of how well he burned his house down, there was room for doubt in the evidence. But overall, it seems that justice was served to Silas Parks. Or was it? Let us know in the comments down below if you think that Silas got away with murder or not. And by the way, if you think this case was horrific, you need to check out my video on the scummy husband who used his childhood friend as a hitman to kill his wife.